Welcome aboard the BK Escape Pod. That's right, it's the augmented and bionic podcast version of the live show you can hear Saturdays from 10 a.m. till 12 p.m. Eastern on 100.3 FM and AM 1450 WBHF Radio. You can stream the show live there Saturdays at WBHFradio.org or on the free Tunein app. Look out, here we go.
This is a rebroadcast of BK on the Air. If you hear a telephone number, please don't call, as you will become one with the dark side of the Force.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Let me make sure everything's ready. Okay, I got the cup of coffee. I have my shoes on. Webcam's off. I never want to have the webcam on when I'm in here. Why would I want people to see me on the air? This is radio. I'm in radio for a reason. You don't have to see me on the air. Door to the station's locked so no one can get in here to throw me off, and all the lights are off. So, the disco ball. I got to bring the disco ball down and turn that on. So, hey, it's BK on the Air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I'm here every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. till noon to dispense nostalgic geekiness talk radio fun. That's what my show is all about. Everybody asks me, who are you? What are you all about? I said, well, I was born in the 60s, did my bulk of growing up in the 70s, and I graduated high school in the early 80s, around 1984. That tells you all about me that you need to know about what I like and grew up with and am interested in, and maybe even a few surprises. No stranger to the program, Walt Murray, is actually will be here to fill in for Alan, because Alan is out today. Alan is I don't know whether he's actually having to report to his parole officer or he's on vacation. It's one of the two. He told me it's one, but it may be the other. So Alan won't be here the next two Saturdays. There will be no Alan Sanders here on the show. And Walt Murray's probably going to be filling in for him, but he stepped out for a minute. But also on the show with me today is my good buddy Brian Gwynn is in here. Hey, buddy.
Hey, BK.
I called you last night. I'm like, hey, how would you like to have fun Saturday morning from 10 a.m. till noon? And you're like, yeah, what do you want to do? I'm like, come on the radio show. You're like, I thought you said have fun. I'm like, no, that is fun.
You tricked me again.
Come on.
Once, fool me twice.
That's right. So I'm glad to have you in here. We pretty much grew up in the same kind of era. You're a tiny bit younger than me, but not by much,
about 5
right?
minutes, yeah.
5 minutes? Did your mom give birth to you 5 minutes after my mom did? Did they call each other and say anything about that? Yeah. So how old are you now? You had to think about it, didn't you? Here, I'll turn your mic off and you can tell me. How old are you, Brian? How old are you, Brian? So see, that's 3 years, which is not bad. You were only 3 years behind me, made more, and I tell Alan this too, because I think Alan's over 4 years younger than me. That only meant something when we were in our teens and 20s. Right. But right now, we're just both old men with gray hair. The 3 years really doesn't mean anything, right?
That's right.
So we both like kind of the same thing, and we're into the same stuff and whatnot. But just to give you an idea of what's going on in the program. So, yeah, I could have done this as show prep before we go on, but why not do it while we're on the air? There's nothing wrong with that.
Just fly by the seat of my pants.
Did you go to Toys R Us a lot growing up? Do you remember going to Toys R Us?
Yeah, not just growing up, but I camped out after they closed, just in hopes.
And you probably remember, too, going to Sears, too. They had a section in Sears called the Toy Box.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Used to go there a lot. Well, Toys R Us is making a comeback, and I have that story coming up. We're going to talk about it. You're just as familiar. We did lose some celebrities over the past few days, and I can't report on them when they happen. I can only talk about them Saturday and on social media when they happen, but I can only talk about them live on Saturday because, unfortunately, they don't want to have me on every day here through the week on this radio station. Don't know why. I've been working on it.
That's a shame.
I want them to put me on every day. That'd be nice to have a daily show, but they might do it one day. But Tony Dow passed away actually kind of twice, which was unfortunate. We'll talk about that. And David Warner passed away, another great actor that you and I really love. Yeah. And when we really delved into his catalog of work, we forgot how huge and diverse it really was. David Warner. So we're going to kind of talk about those two coming up later today. And I asked Walt earlier before he left, I said, hey, Walt, would you be interested in owning a Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit, the 77 Trans Am? He goes, why do you ask? do you think I want to? Why even ask? I'm like, it's a rhetorical question. I know you really want one. It'd be nice to have. There's a way we can get one. So I think if you and Walt and I pull our resources together, we might be able to come up with maybe a gear shift knob. We could buy the gear shift knob on it. We might be able to do it. I got that story because you can buy a Trans Am from Smoking the Bandit. I got that story coming up. And the San Diego Comic-Con finished up not too long ago out in San Diego. Imagine of all places. It's called the San Diego. I'm going to have the full rundown of Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll go over that, too. A lot of stuff coming up and a lot of changes, a lot of shocking things going on. And another shocking thing about the San Diego Comic-Con is who didn't show up, who they were expecting announcements for something that they never got. So we might get into that, too. The James Webb Space Telescope. Have you been looking at any of the images the new James Webb Space Telescope has been releasing through NASA?
Now and then, yeah.
Stunningly clear compared to what the Hubble was giving us back. I mean, it's really blown the Hubble right out of space,
like
blown it right out of orbit.
8 film to Blu-ray.
Yeah. Now we don't want to give Hubble a complex and make him feel sad because that happens now. You got to watch what you say now.
It's with reverence,
but he still does a good job. But the James Webb Telescope, well, the U.S. Postal Service is partnering with the James Webb Space Telescope for something coming up. You might be able to tell what I mean, but just by saying that part. What else have I got coming up here? Have you ever wondered? I'm going to ask you this, but you may wonder it after I ask you. Back in the old days when we used to watch television, we used to have two different waves of TV channel frequencies. We had VHF and UHF, which means VHF was, I think, channel 2 through 13. Then from 14 up to 83, you had to switch over to UHF channels, which was really bad because if you have an old Zenith like I had and you had to switch over to UHF and UHF channel happened to be on channel like 14 or 15 already, you're like, oh, I want to watch channel 48. I got to spin it all the way up to channel 48. That's what you had to do.
So putting a really loud safe is what it was.
Kids have no idea what we're talking about. Go all the way up there. Well, did you know that there never was and there never has and there never will be a channel 37? On UHF. Yeah, and I have the reason why. I'm going to tell everybody, thanks to the website Mental Floss and whoever else they put it because it's true, why there was never a Channel 37. I have it coming up on the program here. We're going to have On This Day in History. We'll talk about what happened today on July the 30th. This just happens to be July 30th today. We'll talk about On This Day in History, and we'll flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, and the bizarre today as well. And also, today's news flashes of the weird and bizarre, it's going to be a special themed news flash as Walt Into Darkness is in the studio right now. Did you check out the farmers market here in downtown Cartersville?
I did. I went and checked out all the...
Wasn't it beautiful? It's
great,
amazing. The stuff there that they have at the farmers market every Saturday in summertime. I was just telling Brian we're going to have the news flashes today of the weird, the strange, and the bizarre, and it's going to be a special animal mistaken identity news flashes. Every story is going to be a possible story of animal mistaken, a case of mistaken identity of animals.
Well, this should be weird.
Well, yeah, that's this show, man. That's the way this show is. And bizarre and strange.
And bizarre and strange.
Do you remember in Airplane, the movie Airplane with Leslie Nielsen?
Yes, I do.
Where they're standing in the cockpit of the jet. They're standing there, and they hear a doot doot doot, and it just shows him look over at the thing. He's like, "Well, that's strange." And he looked at it, and the button said "strange." That was blinking. And the other buttons were listed as bizarre, odd.
That's funny. I got all those jokes like 10 years after it came out. I'm like, I was only we were like 7 or 8.
Why did I laugh when I was a kid?
That was strange. It said strange on
it. I just laughed as a kid because I was supposed to. I had to wait till later to get them. That was me and Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers cartoons as a kid, I thought they were funny because of, obviously, they were funny, well-written, well-made cartoons. Oh, yeah. But then later on, I watched them as an adult, and I'm like, oh, I get why I didn't get that joke.
You're right.
Then, but now I get it.
You're like, huh,
look.
How'd that pass censors?
Daffy Duck has his hair combed to the side, and he has a little square mustache. He's Hitler. Oh, my goodness. Which didn't make it to the air on some point. Speaking of the air, we're chock full of nuts here in the studio, as you can hear. We got everybody here going to have a good time. When Alan's gone, it takes 2 people to replace him. I don't know. Don't let him know that because he'll be like a pear shaped upside down.
That is not true.
We hope he's having a good time on his vacation, but we'll have more. When we come back, it's Nostalgic Geekiness Run Amok. BK on the air.
For some reason or another, you sounded a little taller on radio.
And now, these messages. people at sea. Oh, a little Bactine will fix that right up. That good stuff? Oh, it's real good.
Bactine is unsurpassed in killing germs among the leading antiseptics.
Uh-oh, looks like you need some, too. Is that better?
Better!
Oh, you got it.
Bactine helps the hurt stop hurting.
Listen, somebody's in the galley. Captain Crunch.
It's true. You can't get away with a crunch.
Because the crunch always gives you away.
And now, the Captain Crunch padlock and key. You snap it together and lock up lots of things, like your lunchbox, a drawer, your dog, and more. The padlock and key. One in specially marked boxes of Captain Crunch cereals. Captain Crunch cereal, a yummy part of a good breakfast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Greetings, fellow classic TV fans. From 1965 to 68, Dick Tufeld shared the role of the robot with the man inside the machine, Bob May. Tufeld did the voice acting, ultimately becoming one of the main characters on Lost in Space. Beginning in radio, Dick's voice talents were used on shows like the 1950s The Amazing Mr. Malone and the ABC space opera titled Space Patrol. He also provided narration on some Disney TV shows, including Zorro, starring his future Lost in Space co-star, Guy Williams. As Robot B9, Tufeld's voice hit legendary pop culture status, which he also reprised 33 years later in the 1998 movie. During his initial audition, he assumed Irwin Allen wanted a voice that was mechanical and computer-like. But Allen said no, as a product of advanced civilization, it should be more of a low-key, cultured feel. Well, Tufeld said with all his effort, he just couldn't get it. Allen thanked him and said, I have to keep looking, but you can still be the narrator. Just before leaving, Dick tried it one last time, his way. Danger, warning, does not compute. To which Allen replied, my God, that's it. What took you so long? This is Pat McCormick with your Retro TV trivia from the Golden Rage of TV. You can also find me on YouTube and Facebook at Golden Rage of TV and on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV1.
My micromechanism thanks you. My computer tapes thank you. And I thank you.
And now back to BK on the air.
Thank you, Pat, for that trip into the golden rage of TV. I love Pat being on the show every Saturday at the same time, same BK station here at WBHF. Oh, speaking of 770-386-1450 is our number. Speaking of Pat McCormack and the golden rage of TV, is this you on the line calling right now? Hello?
Just when you thought it was safe to get back in the water.
It's not enough that he's on a recording here. He's going to call in live all the way from the West Coast and check in with us. Hello, Pat.
Well, hello, guys. Like you haven't had enough of me already, but there was one thing that I wanted to get in there real quick that I didn't mention, and it's kind of big. It's kind of a big deal for me, and that is that Golden Rage of TV is going to expand to a podcast.
Oh, you scared me. You said expand.
Fantastic.
I thought you meant you were going to gain weight, so I didn't know what that meant exactly. So, okay.
I have no problem doing that. No problem with that.
So you're going into podcasting. I think that's fantastic.
Yes, and I am still a novice in that regard, but I'm looking forward to diving in. And as a matter of fact, I'm diving in big because I've already booked my first guest.
Awesome.
I'm going to give you guys a hint.
Oh, you're going to break the hint right here?
Yes.
Okay. What's the hint?
She was one of the main characters on a sort of well-known show known as MASH, and she had been on practically every single episode of that iconic show.
You're having Suzanne Summers on? I can't believe that. That's going to be great. I love her.
there's a similarity in hair color and even sexiness if you want to go that far.
Sure, yeah. And Suzanne Summers had hot lips as well at one point, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh, another hint.
Yeah, another hint.
Through the, I don't want to jinx it because it hasn't happened yet, but she has confirmed to join me, the amazing Loretta Swit. What a way to get started, huh?
Well, to someone who might be new to the program, which I like to think I have new listeners, let me dream. I like to think I have new people check in all the time. Tell everybody who are other than my show, obviously, they can hear you out there. Podcast is forthcoming, but right now, if they wanted to go on and go, where can I see Pat and hear all of his things, where's the best place to go?
You've got to go to YouTube. I'm pleading for you to go to YouTube, everyone. Please go and like and subscribe the Golden Rage of TV. It's not the Golden Rage of TV. It's just Golden Rage of TV. And there you'll see all my video segments, my live streams, my music videos, my this, that, and everything else but the kitchen sink. And also on Twitter at Golden Rage of TV and the number 1. And that's it. There I am.
Everybody can hear him every Saturday right here. We're usually after the 5 or 8 minutes after the first commercial break. We come back and have Pat McCormick's Golden Rage of TV here at BK on the Air every Saturday.
Always an honor, and I appreciate your support, Perry, of course.
Hey, do me a favor, and I appreciate you. Do me a favor, when you get even bigger than you are now, just, I don't know, just send me a text every now and then or an email just saying, hi, how's it going down there on the bottom? Just send me a message every now and then. That's all I ask. Would you do that?
Oh, no, you guys are coming with me, whether you like it or not.
Oh, okay. Well, we won't kick and scream. We'll go willingly. That's great. But all the best to you with that new endeavor. I know it's going to be great. I know I'll be listening, and I'll help you get the word out there, Pat. Always great to hear from you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy. And you guys have a great show. I'm listening.
Okay.
Thanks, Pat.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye. Pat McCormick, the Golden Rage of TV. And we talked about it earlier. It's a good way just to get into it since we talked to Pat about how Tony Dow passed away from Leave It to Beaver this week. And it was odd because you guys kept up with it just like I did. He kind of died. He kind of passed away twice, which was unfortunate. His wife released the story of him passing away, and there was some kind of mistake or misunderstanding, or he hadn't passed yet, and they had to retract that statement. And when she made the announcement, it was just picked up by CNN and Fox and everything, and it just really quickly got out there. And then not too long after that, her son, I think, had to come on and correct it and say, no, he has not passed away yet. He's in hospice, and we're still monitoring. And then I think just a few hours later, even after that announcement, he had passed away. So Tony Dow passed away from Leave It to Beaver. He was a funny guy on Leave It to Beaver. He was kind of I guess he would you say he kind of played the straight guy to Jerry Mather's young Beaver? I mean, he really did.
I heard the interview, I'd never heard before, where he said, okay, this is interesting. My part in the role was they had the parents, then you had Beav, who's the child. I was the adult. I was like, oh, wow, and that's so true. He was. He
was like the go-between, too.
Yeah, he was the bridge.
To figure it out. He was also a very talented sculptor, too, Tony Dow was. And I didn't know until that story had come out, I didn't know that he had suffered from depression as well. Yeah, he was on top of having cancer and everything else, which would probably make your depression worse. But he'd suffered with depression over the years, and I can't remember how many years they were married, but him and his wife were married like for a long time. It was a great relationship and a marriage with them. But if no one has seen it, there are two things I want to direct you to about Tony Dow. If you're fans of Tony Dow and you miss him like everybody else did, because Leave It to Beaver, my dad told me about the show, and I watched it, and I go, hey, gee, Dad, that's a pretty good show. I actually started talking like Beaver after the show. I'm like, I couldn't believe it, but it was really a funny show. Go to YouTube and look up Tony Dow sings the theme to Leave It to Beaver, because Leave It to Beaver came back. I can't remember the name of the show, but they came back once as a movie later on TV. Then they did a movie called Still the Beaver or something like that in the 90s or the early 2000s. They did another TV show with them all grown up, and they had kids of their own. There's a video of Tony Dow singing the Leave It to Beaver theme. It's actually a song that has lyrics, and he's singing it to his little baby, and he's holding it in his arm, and he's like, I don't know the lyrics to the song, but he's singing the da 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 da. It's the lyrics to the song, and it's a touching video, and even more so right now to watch it because of that. And another thing I want you to check out is go to YouTube and look for Tony Dow on CBS Good Morning. He did an interview with them with his wife from, I think it's just a couple of years back or a year ago or so ago. They were talking about them, and they're covering his life and what he does and his bouts with depression and their relationship over so many years. It's a fantastic CBS Good Morning with Tony Dow. So check those two out. I mean, I'll miss him. He was a talented guy, and he was funny too.
I remember during the 80s when they started resurgence of all the old shows, they would have, Mayberry, all those people have special shows, and they'd have
Return to Mayberry, the movie. Yeah, that's right.
Gilligan, they'd have that. But I remember when they did Beaver, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know why that one. Like, I remember being thrilled to see that one. That was so weird because it wasn't really. Well, I didn't think it was one of my favorite shows, but I was listening to Walt's show coming in. I was like, yeah, we all grew up with this, and that's not how we grew up, but it's I guess how we had it in our mind. But I was Beaver. I was stuck in the giant coffee cup, not literally, but I was in that situation, and I remember feeling just like he portrayed
the giant soup bowl.
Yeah.
Soup bowl. Yeah. Well, what's funny is we didn't grow up that way because it was before our time, but it still had the dynamics of kids explaining things to parents, getting in trouble. That's what the attraction was. That's what the timeless thing about it is. My nephew, who was he's only like 26, 27 years old now, but back when he was 3 and 4 years old, he would still watch The Little Rascals. Something that came out in the 30s that's still timeless that kids can watch today because it's just kids running around putting on plays and Alfalfa and Spanky and everything. It's still having their little race cars and stuff that they did. It's just great kid stuff that kids can still watch even today.
And now they're buried in their phone.
It's called TikTok
now they watch. Now they watch Little Rascals on their phone. That's exactly right. That's where they watch them in the back seat. But I just saw Tony Dow. It was a few weeks ago, as you guys, and I've told you guys this before. I just got through watching all of Dragnet. Now I'm in the middle of Adam 12. I'm in the Jack Webb cinematic universe, the Jack Webb universe, and then I'll move on to Emergency. Right now I'm in the 3rd or 4th season of Adam 12, and just a few weeks ago I saw Tony Dow on an Adam 12 episode playing a soldier that had returned back, and I think his car got stolen or something like that. He's an episode of Adam 12.
I remember that.
And I thought, there he is. And I at that point, I really hadn't seen him in a whole lot outside of Leave It to Beaver. But when he's on something else, the only thing you can do is, even the interview that he gave on CBS Good Morning, close your eyes, he still has the same voice.
Exactly the same voice.
Even from the kitchen, Stacy went, "That's Tony Dow. I can still hear his voice." I'm like, it's him. It's unmistakably Tony Dow. So.
Well, you mentioned Airplane earlier, and Barbara Billingsley has a scene in Airplane that is one of the classic comedic scenes ever.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get you something?
Your mofo butter laying me to the bone, jacking me up. Tight me.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Cuddy say can't hang.
Oh, stewardess, I speak jive.
Oh, good.
He said that he's in great pain and he wants to know if you can help him.
All right, would you tell him to just relax and I'll be back as soon as I can with some medicine.
Just hang loose, blood. She's gonna catch up on the rebound on the med side.
What it is, Big Mama? My mama didn't raise no dummies. I duck a rap.
Cut me some slack, Jack. Chump don't want to help. Chump don't get the help.
Say can't hang, say 7-Up.
Jive ass dude don't got no brains anyhow.
Because, here's America's Mom, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is, Miss 1950s, she interprets jive to the stewardess. And it is one of the, bar none, funniest scenes out of that movie or maybe any other ever.
Excuse me, stewardess. I speak jive.
And those guys
loose,
are
blood.
just
She's going to catch you on the downside, on the meta side.
I mean, that was so great.
Yeah, for her to do it, though. Who can we get that's so ridiculous to do that?
Yes, it was like hitting a pothole. You're like, wait, isn't she America's Mom? How does she know jive?
That's great. She does. That's great. Well, we got more silliness coming up. We're going to flash the audience to the news, the weird, and the strange, and the bizarre when we come back from this break. And Walt and I will tell you all about a special animal mistaken identity news flashes. We don't know what's going on with these animals. We'll find out. It's BK on the air.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit amphetamines.
It's in here. It's in here.
Beaver, for goodness sake.
Look, Dad.
The Leave It to Beaver show. TV's first family of fun always leaves you laughing.
This is Barbara Billingsley, Beaver's mother.
This is Hugh Beaumont, Beaver's father.
This is Tony Dow, Beaver's brother. This is Jerry Mathers, the Beaver.
You're leaving home, huh?
Yes, sir. And I'm not never coming back.
That lovable, spankable, unpredictable Beaver always leaves you laughing on the Leave It to Beaver show.
But there's no law against a guy doing his brother a favor once in a while, is there?
No, I guess not.
Okay.
Well, I thought maybe you're trying to get rid of me Friday night and I kind of having a party.
Leave It to Beaver to give you the time of your life.
Theodore, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm just sitting here doing nothing.
And who's this?
This is my friend Richard. He's doing nothing, too.
Just waiting for some Tostitos brand tortilla chips. You know, they're perfect for sharing with friends. But I gave you this back yesterday. Who ate them?
Richard? Me? He's got his mouth open an awful lot today, too.
Boys, Tostitos are for sharing.
Share America's best tasting tortilla chips.
You're a real neat guy.
So are you, Beaver.
You're listening to BK on the Air on AM 1450, FM 100.3, and online on the Tunein radio app. Now, back to a guy who'll make you feel really young, mostly because he's so old. It's BK on the Air.
Here, just as I come back from us laughing our butts off here in the studio, because I always said I should do a separate podcast of BK not for air. That's what the new thing will do.
Yes.
Everything we're talking about on the breaks, I'll make it called BK Not for Air.
Yeah, I'm so thankful we've never had an open mic incident here.
Yeah, well, we have, but it's just I never said anything bad.
Yeah.
I am here, so I'm glad that I always make mistakes. Mistakes are part of this show, but if I just kind of smooth it over and keep going, sometimes you don't even know that it happened. Well, it's that wonderful time that we like to flash the audience of the news, the weird, the strange, and the bizarre. And this is a special news flash segment. If you'll see the top of the paper there, Walt, what does it say this is?
This is a special, BK, special animal mistaken identity news flashes.
That's right. And you're going to find out why when we do them. Coming up right now.
Well, when I flash?
Yes.
The audience, when I have the next news flash. Okay, so from the UPI, so we know it's true, a South Carolina woman's security camera captured video of the moment a bear strolled onto her front porch and rang the doorbell in the middle of the night.
And we say bear and quote, bear, unquote. Okay, you'll see why we say that.
Well, Wendy Watson said the doorbell camera at her Greenville County home started recording at about 3:30 a.m. Tuesday, triggered by the motion of a bear that wandered up onto her front porch. The video shows the bear reach out with his paw to ring the doorbell. The bear kind of ambled up onto the porch and was reaching up around the doorbell, and there was a little nose print on the window that we can still see, Watson told WHNS-TV. He looked around a little bit and bent back down, and while he was out there, he ate a lot of birdseed. Right. Watson said the bear, in quotes, is a regular visitor to the neighborhood and has destroyed two of the bird feeders. Could it have been ostrich posing as a bear?
That's what I'm saying. I think it could have been an ostrich or a bird.
A bird of some kind.
Posing as a bear. So there we go. Another mistake of possible case of mistaken
big bird in a big bear
identity.
Costume.
I have the next news. Also from UPI. A visitor to a Georgia mall, this is a local story, captured video of a young bear, unquote, unquote, that wandered up to the shopping center and appeared to try to open the doors of multiple businesses at the mall. Joaquima Douglas said that she was on her way to the neighboring movie theater when she spotted the black bear at the Avalon Shopping Center in Alpharetta, Georgia.
Oh, right by my office.
Quote, I said I got to get the video of this because no one's going to believe I saw a bear at the mall, she told WSB-TV. Douglas said that the, quote, bear, unquote, tried to open several locked doors at the mall. He's trying to open the doors. Quote, the way he was wanting to get in there, you would have thought that it was a dog waiting for its owner, she said. Now, are we sure it wasn't just a dog impersonating a bear? Could have been. The Alpharetta Department of Public Safety said the bear was struck by a vehicle near the mall and fled to the nearby woods. The department said the bear had since been seen raiding garbage cans and does not appear to be seriously injured. Again, why couldn't it have been a dog? It could have been a dog posing as a bear. So there you go. There's another one.
I can barely tell what that was.
No. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I have the next animal news. Again, from the UPI. We're raiding the shelves of the UPI today. Police in England responded to a burglar alarm at a DIY store and arrived to find the culprit. A squirrel.
Wait, is it a squirrel? Okay, we'll find out.
Maybe it's a bear in a squirrel suit.
Oh, no. Let's find out.
Stealing nuts and bird food.
Okay. Nuts
bird.
And bird food. Now,
That's another
squirrels
bird.
Eat nuts, but bird food?
Yeah.
Okay, let's find out.
Well, it's an odd twist.
It's mistaken identity.
Norfolk police tweeted officers responded to the B&Q store in Norfolk while the business was closed on Saturday night. The officers arrived to find the alarm had been triggered by a trespassing squirrel, quote-unquote, stealing nuts and bird food.
Really?
Again, are we sure that it wasn't a bird dressed as a squirrel?
Could have been. It could have been. And what, did you say B&Q store?
B&Q.
What does that mean in England? Is that the Bangers and Quidditch store? Is that what that is? I don't even know what that stands for.
It's the Walmart of England, I guess.
It's more special animal mistaking identity news from UPI. Authorities in Florida said an angry, quote, alligator, unquote, measuring more than 11 feet long, put up such a fierce fight during capture that it knocked over a light pole. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office said in a Facebook post that deputies and personnel from the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission responded to a home around 1 a.m. earlier this week to a report of an alligator lurking underneath a parked Jeep vehicle. Authorities arrived to find the massive gator, measuring 11 feet and 2 inches long, was in a foul mood. The sheriff's office shared video of the alligator roaring as it attempted to escape from a snare around its body. The struggling gator took out the homeowner's light pole, the post said. Now, let's just be honest here. Could it have just been the guy's mechanic under the car fixing the car in an alligator costume?
Well,
could have been.
How many times are you out wandering around and see a bird hiding under a car?
These are all, I think, mistaken identity
and I just stories. Think, yeah, I mean, well, I have the last special animal mistaken identity news. Again.
But has your mechanic taken out a pole, though, before while he's roaring and running away?
Well, our final one is from, again, the UPI. Authorities and marine rescuers in Florida came to the rescue of a quote-unquote dolphin calf found tangled in a quote-unquote crab trap under a pier.
Okay.
Let's see what this is all about.
Dolphin caught in a crab trap. Okay, crab trap.
Very suspicious.
Okay.
The Clearwater Fire and Rescue Department said a lifeguard with the department spotted a quote-unquote dolphin circling near a large fishing pier in Clearwater Beach and went in for a closer look. The Clearwater Marine Aquarium said in a Facebook post that the rescuers attempted to reunite the calf with its mother, but the young quote-unquote dolphin swam toward shore once it was released. The calf appeared to be struggling to swim. Maybe it was actually a crab on its way to a masquerade party dressed as a dolphin.
Could be. I mean, it's in a crab trap, so maybe it's really a big crab.
It could have
thought it was a dolphin.
Right? So it could have been a cow.
It could have been a cow. It could have been a flying fish.
Well, see, I didn't even think about that. That makes me even
closely
more confused.
related to birds. This is very confusing.
That's great.
Very confusing.
Being as this is the news flashes and we don't ever repeat them, I'll file it. Now, that gets filed into this.
Forever gone, forever destroyed.
And destroyed. So anyway, just a few instances of possible animal identity problems there. It may not be exactly what it was.
So I just think nobody really dug into these stories like they needed to.
We dug into that one.
We dug something.
Maybe we shouldn't have. Somebody emailed me a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, the Newsflash segment's pretty fun on the show. Do you write those? I'm like, no.
These are actually these are legitimately from news sources.
The only work I do on the news flashes is I print those. And
yeah, let's be under no illusion here. You do no work.
There's no work on that. There's no work on that.
There's no prep.
I don't even work on a podcast. People's like, oh, you make a podcast? I'm like, no, I do a radio show. I just edit it into a podcast. I don't do anything extra.
I just throw it in publish. That's it.
Edit. Paste and copy and paste. So we don't have much time to get to the next story because we're about to go to a break here in just a few seconds. So I'm glad to have these two guys in the studio with me today. When Alan's here, I always talk about we're chock full of nuts because I'm the cashew nut. Walt, you're the what did I call you? The pecan. You're the pecan because you're Southern and you taste good. You're Southern. Alan is the pistachio because he's in a really hard to get shell and he's green.
Yes, this is true.
Alan. To a T. So
that is true.
Brian is a peanut. You can be a peanut.
Okay.
Because that's what Ant-Man calls Cassie, his daughter, and Ant-Man. Hey, Peanut. So Brian's cute, kind of like Peanut. So let's go to a break.
Mr. Peanut is asking people to say, please pass the Planters because Planters pleases 3 times fast.
Please make it faster because Planters plant.
Please pass the platters, please. Let's get platters.
Please pass the platters because platters, please. Des.
Please pass the planters, because planters, please. Please pass the planters.
Planters peanuts are not only delicious, but they're packed with protein. That's why when it comes to snack foods, nothing pleases like Planters.
Please pass the Planters peanuts, please.
Hey, let's play ball.
In the house?
Sure.
Hey, what are those things anyway?
They're Nerf balls. Spongy foam. That doesn't hurt anything.
Nerf balls. You got your Nerf. Hey, so where did you get these Nerf balls from, me?
From Kool-Aid, free. You send in the top of 20 packs of regular Kool-Aid or 10 packs of sugar-sweetened Kool-Aid to Kool-Aid, P.O. Box 600, Bradley, Illinois, and get a free Nerf ball.
A Nerf's a Nerf.
A tin giraffe with a fife and drum is leading the Cupid parade. A king cat with a soldier's hat is waving a Chinese fan. A plastic clown with a wedding gown is dancing with Raggedy Ann.
Yeah, that's Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver. That's from the later Beaver series that was on, singing the theme, the Toy Parade, to the little baby there in the scene. I thought that was a really cool scene of him doing that. Tony Dow has passed away. We lost actually another actor too. Actually, we lost a few over the past couple of weeks. But the other one that passed away this week that's of importance to me and who I really liked, and I know you guys are a big fan of him too, was the English actor David Warner passed away. And this actually, the story I've got about him passing away is from Fox News. I'll do it right now. He was 80 years old. He died Sunday from a cancer-related illness, they call it. The BBC first reported, David Warner, quote, over the past 18 months, he approached his diagnosis with the characteristic grace and dignity, unquote, his family told the outlet in a statement. He will be missed hugely by us, his family and friends, and remembered as a kind-hearted, generous, and compassionate man, partner, and father whose legacy and extraordinary work has touched the lives of so many over the years. We are heartbroken, they say, unquote. David Warner was born in Manchester, England. He attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts and later began a career in cinema, theater, and television. He's best known, here's just some of the roles that he did, and then we all remembered him. He's best known for roles such as Titanic, The Omen, Tron, Time Bandits, and Time After Time, where he actually played Jack the Ripper. And Time After Time is a time travel story with Malcolm McDowell playing H.G. Wells, directed by Nicholas Meyer, the guy who made a couple of the Star Trek films. Nicholas Meyer obviously was familiar with David Warner's work because he brought him back for Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, to play the Klingon Chancellor. So he had played different roles in Star Trek, believe it or not, David Warner. St. John Talbot in Star Trek V, The Final Frontier in 1989. The Klingon Ambassador Gorkon, we just mentioned, in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country in 1991. And he played a Cardassian in Star Trek The Next Generation, and I think that was in the early 90s as well. He would also reprise the voice of Chancellor Gorkon for the Star Trek Klingon Academy video game, believe it or not. He came back and did his voice for the video game. That just proves that he's a cool guy. He's he could have easily went, that's science fiction, and I don't want to really do a lot more of that. He would do it. Yeah. He would do it, and I respected him for that. I'd forgotten, he had won a Supporting Actor Emmy Award for the miniseries Masada in 1981. I remember that miniseries when it came out. Jerry Goldsmith did the music to it. And who was in Masada? Was that Peter O'Toole? Was in Masada? I can't remember who that was. Who was the star of that? But I know David Warner was in it. It was one of those miniseries like Roots and Winds of War and a lot of those other miniseries that come out. David Warner also provided the voice for Raja Ghul in Batman, the animated series, which was Brian mentioned earlier. He's got that voice, and immediately him and Tony Dow, when they're speaking, that it's them. Yeah. The minute they open their mouths. He most recently appeared in Mary Poppins Returns and the Teen Titans Go. David Warner, and I guess maybe he did a voice in that as well. So David Warner is no longer with us. He was 80 years old. Do you have a best favorite Brian role of David Warner? If you had to pick just one, which one stood out the most and you liked the most?
Probably
put you on the spot.
Well, I have to say too, the first time I ever saw him, he as nice as he could play a good guy, as well as he could play a good guy, he also played a fantastic villain. And Jack the Ripper was my first intro.
Time After Time?
Time After Time.
Yeah.
What did I say? Never mind. Okay, so
that's who he played, though. You got that right.
Yeah, I got that right. Okay. I hate when I make mistakes in front of people. Everybody forgets.
Not on this show. This show welcomes mistakes.
Then we thrive.
That's right, Tron.
Sock. And Tron. And Sark's user alter ego that was running the company as well. Played him as well.
And he also, and I was for the Doctor Who fans out there. I don't know if y'all do a lot, but he was played an episode in with the 11th Doctor Matt Smith as a. It was
he was in the later Doctor Who show. Wow,
a little bit, yeah. One of the, and it was a kind of a Red October-ish version, and he played a very likable scientist on the ship. So,
oh, okay, and the submarine.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So Walt, let's go over to Walt. Any roles David Warner stuck out to you, possibly that you liked?
He to me is interesting because I'm always, it's like a weird fascination for me of people who play multiple roles in Star Trek. I don't know why I'm like that, but seeing him in those different roles and how he played them differently, but it's always like, oh wait, wasn't he just in?
Right. He did 2 movies in a row. He did Star Trek
5 and 6.
And I'm like, I guess you just liked him enough where the people would just, isn't that, and no one had a problem, which is fine. I mean, he's a great actor.
Yeah,
maybe that's the part of being a great actor.
And he played them differently enough that most people wouldn't have caught that.
Completely different. In Star Trek V, he played St. John Talbot, who was like an ambassador on Nimbus 3, and he was unshaven. His clothes were all wrinkled, and he was smoking a cigarette because people had forgot about him on the planet, and he was just playing his hair was all messed up and oily, and he just had this disheveled look about him. And then he goes into Star Trek 6 playing the very elegant, regal Klingon ambassador, which gets killed, by the way, assassinated. Mm-hmm. And it's just 2 completely different
Well, he was wearing, all the prosthetics and all that kind of stuff. So you wouldn't have necessarily caught that right off
But just
the
close
bat.
your eyes and listen to his voice.
Yes, the voice is so distinctive. So, and for the record, I mean, I'm willing to reprise my role in Star Trek or to do a whole different role. So just if JJ's out there listening, I am willing to do that just like he did. So
people that don't know that, Walt was in the movie Star Trek Into Darkness, the second film in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. You played a guy watching the giant ship, the Vengeance, crash into the Alcatraz Island as it comes towards San Francisco, and you're actually there. The camera pans back, and you are center screen there for a few seconds as the camera pulls back, and you are in Star Trek. That's why we call you Walt Into Darkness.
And a lot of debate on whether or not I got killed. So
leather jacket. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like the future members only jacket. Futuristic members only.
Now, was it the future men's Gucci bag that you were carrying? Because you were carrying a handbag too, sort of.
Well, I mean, they just took one look at me and thought this guy style and class is just written all over him. So,
when people use the term man bag with me, it means totally something different. So, I have a different role that's my favorite by David Warner. My favorite role that David Warner did.
Call off those creatures, or I'll destroy the map forever.
No, don't be so stupid.
Call them off!
Very well. I have no need of them. Robert. Yes, Master. Your time has come. Oh, wonderful, Master. Wonderful. Don't mention it. Benson. I'm a reasonable man.
He's totally lost in that. He's playing evil. His name is not Dr. Evil or Mr. Evil. His name is just Evil. He's the embodiment of everything evil in Time Bandits. And that's where first movie I noticed David Warner in was not that, believe it or not. It was The Omen with Gregory Peck. The first Omen movie. He plays one of the, I can't remember if he's a reporter or something like that, that Gregory Peck enlists the help of to try to convince people that this kid is like the Antichrist that's been born. And everyone that's discovering it, for some odd reason, are being killed as the movie goes on. And David Warner, and this is not a spoiler, this came out in 1976, so if you haven't seen the movie before, I'm sorry. But David Warner is out somewhere, I can't remember where he is, but his character is, there's a truck in front of him, and he's on like this construction lot. And this truck is backing up, and the truck has, they're about to install glass into the building, a glass window or something. And this truck backs up, and actually, I don't know, his brakes fail, and the truck stops abruptly and hits something. And when the truck stops, a large, long sheet of glass comes right off and hits David Warner's character and chops his head right off.
I remember that.
And that's how he meets his demise in The Omen. So that's the first thing I really saw him in. He's actually in a movie, I can't remember the movie, but back Hammer Films and some Amicus Films, they did movies back in the 70s, and they were called anthology movies, where they would be like little short stories like Twilight Zone episodes, but they're in a movie, one movie after the other, one little story after the other. He plays in one, and I can't remember which one it was. It was Vault of Horror or House of Terror or something like this, one of those movies like that. And he plays a guy who buys an antique mirror for his home, and he puts the mirror on the wall, and what he doesn't know is this mirror has a life of its own, and when he brings people over and people look inside the mirror, this thing sucks their soul into the mirror, and then they're trapped in the mirror. And it's a very odd story. Haven't we all been there at one point? That happened, and then eventually, one thing leads to another. I can't remember the story. I have to watch it again. But he winds up, the mirror has to be fed, or
right.
So he hasn't fed it, or something happens, and it finally sucks him in there.
And what was that? You're telling us, and I remember this now. I mean, I remember being really freaked out by that as a kid.
Let me find out what movie it is.
I can't remember that either. I just remember it was one of those like rainy Saturday afternoons watching it
and was
just
on
being
TV.
Like, what the crap is this? This is freaking me out. So, yeah, but a great movie.
I can't remember what the movie.
And it's kind of one of those things that you look at and you're like, I'm never walking by a mirror again.
From Beyond the Grave. That was the name of it. 1974. It was a movie called Amicus Pictures. Kind of was the studio which competed with Hammer Films that Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee was in. Well, Amicus came out, and they were some of the same people that worked on Amicus Films, and they did these little movie about short stories, and it was called From Beyond the Grave was the name of the movie. And the segment that he was in, if I can look at it, they have it all it's actually one of them. But anyway, it's an interesting story because I'd never seen anybody do that before. I'll miss him. Tron, he was great, but when you watch Tron, I already was familiar with him. I'm like, that's that guy from those movies that I've seen. And for me, I'd always saw him as a bad guy.
Yeah.
To me, he's always played the heavy. Now, I wonder how fun it was to have all the Klingon prosthetic makeup put on his head for Star Trek VI, because Christopher Plummer was in that same Star Trek film as a Klingon, and we know Christopher Plummer attended college in one of the Shakespeare Academies with William Shatner. Shatner was his buddy or his understudy back in the day when they went together, or some school in Canada. What an interesting story from Star Trek VI was when Christopher Plummer, who's no longer with us now either, was another great actor, was going to be made as the Klingon. What was his name in Star Trek VI? Kang.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kang, yeah.
He's the Klingon. And they had this wig for him to wear and everything. He's like, why can't I just be bald?
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to wear the wig. And put a patch on my eye and nail it in with bolts. And it's like, and it worked out great. He was the first bald Klingon, and it was great. He had a huge prosthetic on his head. So
because Shatner said, I want hair.
Yeah. He always did, right? He still does. So that's a rumor. That's a dirty rumor. I don't know how that got started.
Rumor.
So, yeah. So speaking on the air, we're going to take a break now. And if you haven't heard me on a podcast, I do turn the show into a podcast when I go off there on Saturday. You can hear me on SoundCloud, Spotify, oh my goodness, Anchor, and I got a YouTube channel. So I make the show sound a little different. I remove the local commercials and just have even more fun with extra stuff. And speaking on there, we'll be back. We'll be back.
Why have I let the Supreme Being keep me here in the fortress of ultimate darkness? Because you... Oh, shut up. I'm speaking rhetorically. Oh, of course.
We'll return after these messages.
You are the new American society. The movers and the shakers. You are the new coffee generation.
Because coffee lets you calm yourself down and picks you up. Coffee gives you the serenity to dream it and the vitality to do it. No other drink does that like coffee.
Join the coffee achievers. Do your best.
It's a little bit better day, America, since Mr. Coffee came along.
Mr. Coffee has changed the way America makes coffee. Brews it perfectly, the best I've ever tasted, and brews it faster than any other coffee maker.
You make coffee better than coffee was, and it's only because Mr. Coffee came along.
There's only one Mr. Coffee.
Stand by to receive our transmission.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Hey, we're back on BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. I'm in the studios today. Alan is out, but I'm here. I'm going to be out a couple of Saturdays in September, so I'm sure Alan and Walt will be filling in for me in September when we head to Universal Studios in Orlando. Then we're going to make the trek after that to Panama City Beach, Florida. We're going to have a wonderful time checking out the Gulf of Mexico. That just happens to be one of our favorite place to go to the beach, right, Brian? We love it down there. Whether it's no matter where it is, the Gulf of Mexico, no matter where you are, Florida all the way up to Mississippi. I don't care for the Texas side because there's not many. There's some beaches over there, but it's kind of rocky when you get over that way. But the Gulf of Mexico is a beautiful place to go, no matter what beach that you're on.
Yeah,
just don't go down there during spring break.
Yeah,
just don't do that. So
or July 4th, that's
go off.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's cool though.
Let's do a little on this day in history. Today is July the 30th. I always like to tell everybody what happened on the day we happened to be broadcasting at the time. 1928, on this day in history, George Eastman shows the first amateur color motion picture to guests at his home in New York, including Thomas Edison of East. He eventually would become Eastman and Kodak.
Wow.
1928 was the first time that he did that on this
That's
day
crazy.
in history. Walt mentioned this earlier this morning, but you didn't hear it because we were talking off the air. 1945, on this date, after delivering the atomic bomb across the Pacific, the cruiser USS Indianapolis is torpedoed and sunk by 2 Japanese submarines, I-58. 880 of the crew died, many after being attacked by sharks.
That is crazy.
You listen to Robert Shaw on Jaws tell the story. He paints a great picture telling that story in Jaws about when that shark bites you and his black eyes roll over white, and they just tear you to pieces. He talked about coming to one of his buddies, and he thought they'd been in the water all night long, and the sharks had missed him. He's still in the water, and they're all wearing life jackets, so they can't really escape or go anywhere. He says, I thought my buddy was asleep, and I went over to him to wake him up, and he upended. He'd been bitten in half below the waist, and he just turned upside down. I'm like, that's nightmarish story.
A nightmare
to think about.
They were on for 4 days.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Well, Walt was talking about, you were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
No one had known they had sunk for a little while. They went for a while, but no one knew about it.
They delivered one of the atomic bombs that was going to be dropped on Japan.
Yeah.
And so it was a top secret mission. They turned around and left, wherever it was they delivered it, Saipan or wherever.
Yeah.
And they were off the logs. And, of course,
terrible position to be in.
Yeah. Now you go on a cruise and watch TV the whole time. But there was no communication. They were on radio silence, no tracking devices, no nothing. And they're out in the middle of the Pacific and get sunk and float around for 5 days.
And he ends that story by saying, he says, that was when I was most scared. When the people showed up pulling people out of the water, rescued them, he goes, are they going to get to me in time before a shark gets to me while I wait my turn to be pulled out? He goes, I'll never wear another life jacket.
Horrifying.
Yeah. And he didn't put on a life jacket at all at the end of Jaws. He gave Hooper and Brody life jackets.
Yep.
But he didn't put one on. So 1948 on this day in history, professional wrestling premieres on primetime television for the first time.
Amazing.
Way back in
That's
1948
great.
on the defunct Dumont Network. The one that went away. And that was the one that Jackie Gleason's show was on for a while before.
Oh, yeah, sure.
And then Jackie moved to CBS back in the day. Today in 1966, Brian will be really interested in this one. The Beatles, Yesterday and Today, goes number 1 and stays number 1 for 5 weeks on this day in 1966, the same year I came into being.
Wow.
So I'm a little older than that Beatles song, which is good. So I'm February. That's July. 1972 on this day in history, another Billboard chart. Number 1 on the charts in 1972, 50 years ago. Alone Again, Naturally by Gilbert O'Sullivan. Do you remember that song?
Wow, yeah.
That's a great song.
Well, because everybody's out of the house.
So you can really put on a show.
He did. And another one, yet another one. 1977, this song reached number 1 on the Billboard chart on this day in history.
For so long.
Yep, that is nothing for you people listening to it and going, yeah, the Bee Gees. I'm like, well, technically you're wrong. That's not the Bee Gees, but it is by Andy Gibb, which is all the Bee Gees' brother, and produced. I think it's produced by Barry Gibb.
Yeah, I think so.
Anytime Andy Gibb did a song, it might as well have been the Bee Gees because it's produced by Barry. Sounded like the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, why didn't he just join the Bee Gees? Maybe he didn't want to. Maybe he just wanted to do his own thing. And isn't it weird now that the only Bee Gee left alive is Barry, the oldest brother?
Yeah, that's crazy.
It wasn't Andy. He's the youngest, and he was the first one to go.
I think so, yeah.
Terrible thing. So Barry still tours and does Bee Gee songs, I think, with one of the Bee Gees' daughter or his daughter. I can't remember who it is, but he still tours and does the songs. And
well, that's kind of one of those families like the Belushis. Like you think about what was Thanksgiving like at that table with Jim Belushi and John Belushi.
Right. Probably very funny.
I'm sure you hardly got your meal down. And then with these guys at their house, you've got 4 or 5 brothers that can sing better than anybody in the world.
Brothers Gibb.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Barry did an interview after the last brother had passed away, and he goes, I'm sad because when my last brother passed away, him and I weren't on the best of terms. And I'm like, but he did go and finally talk to him, I think, one more time. So that's bad, too, if you lose. So that's proof. But it's proof. Be nice to everybody. You never know.
Yeah, keep short accounts.
1984, on this day, the soap opera Santa Barbara premiered on NBC TV. I don't know how many of you out there watch Santa Barbara. I wasn't a soap opera watcher, but anyway, if you say you're not a soap opera watcher and watch Dallas and Dynasty, then you were a soap opera.
Those were
watcher.
soap
They were
operas,
just nighttime ones is all
I watched Soap.
that they were.
That's a sitcom, though.
Soap, yeah.
Making
close
fun
enough.
of soap operas, which was hilarious. I loved Soap.
Close like that.
It was so funny. We got to go to Santa Barbara when we went out to California, to Hollywood and Los Angeles. We're like, I heard Santa Barbara's really nice. Let's drive up there today. And it is a beautiful town. So you walk through it, walk out to the pier. And I was walking out on the pier in Santa Barbara, walking back, because they have like a wharf area out there with restaurants and stuff. And walking back, I walk into this little store, and there is it's like a Zoltar fortune-telling machine, like in the movie Big with Tom Hanks. I'm like, let's do it. Let's put a quarter in and do it. It was great.
Your poor wife.
It says, you will not make it off this pier alive. I'm like, no, turn it off. Stop. That's not true. Don't do that. So that's funny. Birthdays on this day. Sid Croft, Canadian American puppeteer, half of Sid and Marty
Sid
Croft.
Marty, yes.
It's Sid's birthday today. Today is Arnold's birthday. Arnold's birthday today. Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm just kidding.
Did you guys catch the show last week? We did a story about the lady that played Professor Sprout on the Harry Potter films. Said while they were filming End of Days, remember that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger with End of Days, where she plays like a Satan worshiper or something, or Satan's sister? She goes, Arnold Schwarzenegger farted in my face on the set of End of Days. I'm like, really? You're telling the story? Listen to the last BK on there. You'll hear that story.
Yeah,
And
I've met him.
she
Fortunately, he
care
did not do that to me.
Okay, well, you'd have had something to talk about. It's Lawrence Fishburne's birthday today. Another great actor. I forgot he was from Augusta, Georgia. I'd forgotten all about that. And today is Christopher Nolan's birthday. Maybe Christopher Nolan would do a movie other than Dunkirk that I like one day. And I know Alan hates that, but I just don't care for him. More birthdays when we come back.
My daughter was playing dress-up when she looked at me and said,
"See, Mommy, I've got wrinkly pantyhose too, just like yours."
I could have died. But the little darling was right. Now I wear legs. Legs have memory yarn. It stretches out and stretches back to fit beautifully.
She's got legs. Our legs fit your legs. They hug you, they hold you, they never let you go.
Circles, whirls, and curlicues, and clouds of color weave.
Spirograph, the miracle drawing set that lets you make a million marvelous designs, now introduces Super Spirograph. Bigger, more exciting, with a new assortment of snap-together pieces that let you make bigger, more fantastic designs than ever before.
Dream designs, they can be mine.
With new Super Spirograph.
We now return to our program.
Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here. Let's continue with the birthdays since it is July the 30th. Another birthday on this day. Today is Hilary Swank, American actress. She's been in a few movies that I've seen. Wasn't she in that Clint Eastwood movie where she's the boxer?
Sounds
and
right.
She dies at the end. I can't remember the name of it. It's actually a pretty good movie. She always does a good job. You know what she was good in? I'm a big Sam Raimi fan, director Sam Raimi. He did a movie called The Gift with Kate Blanchett, who was like a fortune-telling lady that lived in Louisiana with Greg Kinnear and Keanu Reeves was in it. And she was Hilary Swank was in that as like an abused wife of Keanu Reeves or something. And she was fantastic in that, so it was really good. And today is also, let's reflect on this for a moment. Today is Jamie Presley's birthday today. Jamie Presley. I didn't know that she was from Kinston's, North Carolina. That's where she's from. She was in Joe Dirt.
Yeah.
The blonde from Joe Dirt. Yeah.
My name's Earl.
Yeah. Was she in that? Yeah, that's right. She was in that, too. Yes, Jamie Presley.
I'm not surprised she's from the South.
Jamie Presley. Always liked her.
From the accent, I didn't get it.
It's
hard to figure.
It's always National Something Day, too, every day. Today is National Cheesecake Day today. I don't think I ever made a cheesecake I didn't like. Did you?
For a short time, I worked at a place that made cheesecakes, and I can't even be around them anymore.
How short of a time was it?
It was very short.
Wow. You had to quit for what reason?
The odor, it was just bad. It was just
but
bad.
in a good way, right?
No.
Oh, it wasn't? Oh, I thought you meant you just...
No, it's kind of like they talk about how the sausage is made, how the cheesecake's made.
Oh, really?
Once you've worked in a cheesecake place, you can never eat cheesecake again.
Is there anything that we could do that would not matter? Because I'm thinking, if I worked at a pork barbecue place where they smoke barbecue,
I think I could work at a barbecue place and eat barbecue 3 meals a day. I don't think that's a problem.
I did work at one fast food place in the early 80s out of high school that I just got so sick of it. I'm like, yeah, because you work there and you get so sick of it. That's true. Today is national, and every one of us has one of these. It's National Father-in-Law Day.
Oh, okay.
You two can probably celebrate it. I cannot. And that's all I got to say about that. And it's not because he's no longer with us. It's just because I don't want to celebrate it. I'm sorry. I don't want to go into that.
Yeah. No,
I get too much in my personal life. I don't want to do that.
I liked my first father-in-law, and I like my current father-in-law. They're both good guys.
And you probably will like your next one, too, right?
No,
this is it. Say that.
I'm good.
Don't say that.
No, I'm good. I'm set.
Please, I don't want to jinx anything.
I want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much less, you really flip your lid.
From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there is.
Gee whiz.
I don't want to grow up, 'cause baby, if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. More games, more toys, oh boy, I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
And I was one. I was a Toys R Us kid, along with a lot of other things. Growing up as BK on the air. Hey, I got this story. It's all over the place, but the particular story that I printed out is from Fox 5 right here in Atlanta. Macy's is bringing back Toys R Us to all U.S. locations ahead of the upcoming holiday season. Did you see that story?
I did.
Macy's, in partnership with Toys R Us parent company WHP Global, announced this past Monday that the rollout of the highly anticipated pop-up stores will begin in late July, with all locations expected to be up and running by October 15th, just right before our Halloween spooktacular that comes out every year. This is the first time Toys R Us will be seen in every single U.S. location since WHP Global, which acquired a controlling stake in the beloved toy retailer last year, announced that it would bring back 400 locations. So I do remember doing the story, I think last year, of them talking about bringing it back. The unveiling of the new locations come after Toys R Us became what many thought to be something of a distant memory when the COVID-19 pandemic shuttered its last two physical locations in New Jersey and Texas. Both locations had been opened in late 2019 and were the only Toys R Us stores in the country following the company's Chapter 11 bankruptcy filing in 2017 and its U.S. and British store closures in 2018. Quote, Macy's cannot wait to bring Toys R Us, the Toys R Us experience to life in our stores, said Nada DeVere, Macy's chief merchandising officer, in a part of a statement. They continue, the customer response to our partnership with Toys R Us has been incredible, and our toy business has seen tremendous growth, unquote. So there you go. Toys R Us, something's coming back that went away not too long ago, but now they're trying to inject some life back into Toys R Us.
So it is actually going to be in the Macy's stores.
Yes,
my question,
which I guess is a formula which might work since they're already there. They're not trying to open up new locations like in a new brick-and-mortar location. It might work out that way. So I think the last time I walked into a Toys R Us store, I can't remember. It may have been, Brian, you may remember this. I don't know when it was, what Star Wars movie had been released. It might have been the prequels or one of the older films. But when I walked in, Toys R Us, I don't know if it was just them exclusively, had the biggest Millennium Falcon hanging from the ceiling. I can't remember what movie it was tying in. It might have been 99 for the first prequel film, The Phantom Menace, but I'm not sure. But I remember going in, I think it might have been the last time I was in a Toys R Us when I saw that giant Millennium Falcon hanging from the ceiling. That all of those are probably in some prominent collectors' basements right now somewhere. But it was huge, and it was beautiful. And I think it goes for like an astronomical amount of money if people can get a hold of it. You can't actually get in it, but it's bigger than the toy. It's bigger than the toy.
I remember the 80s.
You do?
That's all the reason I barely.
Okay, just making sure, because you have trouble sometimes. I remember the 80s, but I don't remember what I had for breakfast yesterday.
That's true. The whole, I think Empire, the 80, 81 year, going in the wall of Star Wars. It was a wall of Star Wars stuff, and I remember that. And
that was at its height, I think.
During the time you were just talking about, a buddy of mine, we thought, hey, we got jobs, we're adults, I don't have kids yet, I'm going to spend as much as I want to buy Star Wars junk. And we did. It was like,
how old were you at that point?
I was about 52. No, I was...
No, how old were you?
No,
it was
so
last weekend.
No, sorry, the 1999.
So how old were you?
I was old enough to make enough money, and I didn't.
You scared me because you were old enough to have kids at that point. It wasn't the 80s.
I had none.
Okay, good.
I wasn't dating anyone.
Okay,
it was just me, and we did it one night, about $200 worth, just for fun. I had a job and didn't have any real bills. I was living in an apartment, so we did. It was a ton of fun, just watching people go through in midnight and at Toys R Us.
And if you had taken that $200 worth of toys and put them in a Tupperware tub,
right,
left them somewhere, and opened them today,
hold it.
You could retire.
Let me stop you right there. You don't know who you're talking to. He may very well have done that. I'm not sure because I've
just
seen
forgot
Brian's
about
basement
it.
before. He's got quite a bit of stuff. He's got some stuff. So.
Don't mind the loose dirt down there that looks freshly. Don't worry about that. But the box is next to that, so you can look at that.
What are all these bags of lime doing down here in the basement?
You've got a lot of rolled up rugs. What is going on here?
Yeah. Well,
you are a private investigator. I better stop. All right.
I don't care unless somebody's paying me.
You guys might remember this too. In the mid '80s, when you got up to '86, '87, '89, at that point, Star Wars was really fledgling. I mean, it was out of favor. No one was buying Star Wars stuff anymore. And in '80, I guess it was '89, '90, the Sears where I used to work had their toy department had Star Wars figures in 2-packs for like $1.50. They couldn't give the stuff away. It was all on sale. They had the big Rancor from the Return of the Jedi was in a I guess he was like $40 when he was new. It was like $5, with a marked down sticker on him. They were just trying to get rid of these toys, and stuff. And there was a time where they couldn't sell Star Wars toys because it wasn't that popular anymore. Because again, it was years from '83 to 1999 before we'd have another movie coming out. So. That's a long time. So, yeah, we're having a good time here talking about Star Wars and stuff. I have another story here. Let's see. I got to do this in order here because I don't want to start one of these long stories and then come back from a break and not be able to finish it. By the way, speaking of movies and stuff, and Walt, you know this because your better half, like my better half, is an educator. They're teachers.
That is correct.
What grade does your better half teach? Can you remind me?
She actually now teaches teachers to teach reading. So she
teaches teachers to teach reading.
She is some sort of educational guru type.
Okay, my better half is a teacher as well, and my wife's. I want to give her some kudos and applause because these kids that show up this coming Monday. This week was the teachers being at school for getting everything ready for the kids coming and everything. So this Monday is when they all return to school. She has completely her and her teacher, and she's the special needs co-teacher. My wife is. They have completely decked out their classroom in total Hogwarts Harry Potter style. Wow. I mean, there's stuff in there. They went to the nth degree. It's almost like they waved their wand and just turned it into a Harry Potter thing. As far as even the outside of the classroom, they put up the bricks. With the Hogwarts 9 3/4 sign hanging outside of their door and everything. It looks incredible.
Yeah, the kids are going to love it.
It looks amazing. There's lots of stuff.
I helped her hang flying keys from the ceiling, with fishing lines so they wouldn't be able to see it. She bought all these little keys because, in one of the Harry Potter films there are keys flying around. They have to grab one, get on their Quidditch broom, and they're flying, what is it, the Nimbus 2000 broom that they call it. Harry flies up and tries to grab the one little key out of all these thousands of keys he's got to grab. We hung these keys from the ceiling, and all that came for us to hang the keys were just the keys. We had to add the wings to them. So Stacy made all these little wings, and she had to hot glue all the wings to every one of these keys. And there were
my gosh,
dozens of them hanging from the ceiling.
That's
now.
crazy.
You look at them like, how many did we hang? I can't even remember that. Did we hang like 20? No, she's like, there's 10,000 keys. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of keys up there. And when she angles the room's oscillating fan in the classroom just right, it makes the keys move with their little wings, and it looks like they're actually flying around. I'm like, I can't believe this. I said, honey, call IBM and put an application in. They may want you to work for them because you did such a good job on this. She's got the hanging candles from the ceiling above the kids.
Oh, wow.
And she has a remote control for them. They're like little candles with like little remote, little flickering tops on them. And when she dims the light, she can hit the remotes, and all the candles will come on up there. And they're all at different, different levels, so they're all hanging there with filament line, which is invisible, basically. If you light it right, you can't really see the fishing line. But speaking of that, I'm not a fisherman. I'm not a sportsman or whatever. Even when I fished as a kid, I hated it. My parents forced me to fish, and I didn't like it because I was sitting there going, I really would like to be reading a comic book right now or riding my bike. I don't want to sit here and fish. But I'm in the sporting goods section.
So well rounded.
I'm in the sporting goods section. I'm in the sporting goods section of the store, this major department store, which wasn't Kmart, by the way. And I got this fishing line in my hand. This guy comes at me and goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Yeah, I hope it's not about fishing because I only have this for a certain reason and it's not for fishing." He's like, "Oh, okay, never mind." And he just wants to even help him. I'm like, "I have this for a class.
Not
project.
my person.
It's not for fishing." So there you go. Speaking on there, we're having a wonderful time here at WBHF. When we come back, I'm going to tell you how you might be able to buy the Bandit's Trans Am from Smoking the Bandit.
It's the fishing invention of the century. There's never been anything like it. Popeil's Pocket Fisherman. Men, women, youngsters can cast almost like experts the very first time. Small enough to fit in glove compartment, backpack, any travel bag, or even in your pocket. And Pocket Fisherman's handle is its own mini tackle box. Flip up the special DuPont nylon rod and you're ready to fish anytime. Even catch big ones like this with heavy test line and your favorite lure and shock absorber. Pocket Fisherman is made with a smooth action Johnson spin casting reel filled with Trilene XL line, and boy does it catch fish. It's the perfect outfit for casting in tight spots. You can even hang it on your belt. Expert or amateur will love Popeil's Pocket Fisherman. It's rod, reel, line, bobber, hook, the whole thing. Yes, it's fishing fun for the whole family, and only $19.95. What a gift.
There's a secret.
Where's the secret?
The secret's at your fingertips. It's Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips.
How do we make the meal you can't make at home? What makes our fish fillets so crunchy? Are chips like French fries outside and baked inside? We'll never tell.
There's a secret here tonight. Real good secret here tonight. Clap your hands and smack your lips for Arthur Treacher's original fish and chips.
It is offensive. Fortunately, taste is irrelevant.
When it comes to shows about movies and comic books, heroes and crazy news, I tune into PK on the air from 10 to noon Saturdays.
Thank you, Arnold, for telling me that, because it is your birthday today. 770-386-1450 is our number if you want to call. Actually, when we're on the air here, you have to say hi through the window and go up to the front. Well, kind of like you did today. You walked up, Brian walked up and goes, "Hey, I'm here. I know you guys are on the air. I'll go come and get you when there's a news break, or I'll just come out right now." Because this place is dead on the weekends. This is not a weekday, because our office here doubles as the office for the station, and it doubles for the box office for the Grand Theater. They do a lot during the day. But during the weekend, the news people may come in and record. I know this is radio talk, and it's boring radio talk. I don't mean to bore you with that.
Well, what we're saying is we're in a secure facility.
We are in a kind of a secure
So no
place.
matter how mad you get at us.
We are in a secure place. So
that is still just glass right there, though, right? That's not bulletproof.
It's bulletproof, yes.
So
Bomb-proof, EMP-proof.
Okay, just...
Well, hey, you guys are a fan of the Trans Am from Smoking the Bandit, right?
Oh, yeah.
The 77 Trans Am?
Why do you even ask?
Breaker one, this is the Bandit, it's a snowman out there. Am I hitting you, son? Mercy sakes, you put about 8.5 on me. Blowing the windows down, bring it on. I'll be within earshot, you keep it wound up to around 90. Hey, Bandit, me and Fred's got a question. What do you and Fred want? How come we doing this? Well, why not? Well, they said it couldn't be done. Well, that's the reason, son. That's good with Fred. We're clear. And four. Westbound and down, 18 wheels rolling. Are we going to do what they say can't be?
Yeah, Smoking the Bandit, the biggest movie of 1977, at least for a little while, until another movie was released in 1977. For the longest time in 1977, Smoking the Bandit was the big movie, only because I think it was released on more screens at first than Star Wars was. Then later, Star Wars was, they discovered Star Wars was actually a really great movie, and they just released it on many more screens, so it well passed Smoking the Bandit. Well, I have this story from Fox News. If you've ever wanted to buy a Pontiac Trans Am, there's one up for auction, a Bandit one that's worth a fortune. It's gone a long way, but you'd never know it to look at the odometer. What may be the lowest mileage, 1977 Pontiac Trans Am in the world will soon be making a short trip across the auction block. The 1977 Trans Am SE Special Edition is similar to the one featured in the classic road comedy film Smokey and the Bandit, which you just heard a little clip there from, although the cars used during filming were 1976 models modified to look like the newer cars in Smokey and the Bandit. The mechanically original auction car is an all-original and equipped with sought-after Y82 package that includes the Trans Am's iconic T-top roof. Now, when I was a kid and first saw T-tops, I'm like, I want one of those cars. I want that so bad. That would be nice to have one of those. It features a monstrous, this is why we wouldn't want it today, it features a monstrous 6.6-liter V8 engine that put out, it only put out 180 horsepower, though, believe it or not. It didn't even crack 200 horsepower, thanks to the 1970s emissions rules. Wah, wah, wah. Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
And a 3-speed. It's got a 3-speed automatic transmission. Most cars now that have an automatic transmission, unless it's a CVT, have like an 8, 9, and 10-speed transmission. This one only had 3. That's why when you drive it down the road and you floor it, it's like it does this. It goes... That's it sucking the gas up when it goes down the road, so we couldn't drive it today. Now, according to the seller, Charlie Herman, the engine has been kept in perfect running condition but hasn't been used much because the car has an astonishingly low 14 miles on the odometer on this car.
What?
1977. That's why it's going to sell. That's why. Now, Herman, an active collector car trader, said the car was originally used by Pontiac as a touring display vehicle that was never assigned to a dealer for sale. That maybe will up the price of it even more. He understands that it suffered some very minor damage during a trip through North Carolina, so the automaker donated it to a local vocational school where the students fixed it up. So it's been damaged, but they fixed it, so it probably still looks really good. Now, as the story goes, it was used in a parade, then purchased by a collector who owned it and never drove it until he sold it in 1997. It was a bit weather-looking back then. It was weathered. So the new owner had it cosmetically refreshed before selling it in 2013. Herman has actually owned it twice, having purchased it and sold it a few years ago before recently reacquiring it. He'll be offering it at the Meckham Auctions event in Harrisburg on July today. Wow, it's today. So today's July the 30th, right? Yeah, on this day in history.
Yeah. Get to Pennsylvania.
So it's on the block today because I printed this out like 2 days ago. The car's backstory and mileage makes it makes its value difficult to calculate. They say classic car insurer Haggerty, which insures classic cars, estimate that one in show car condition is currently worth about $161,000 for one that they know of. But this one is only got 14 miles on it, so that makes it even more unique that it was a Pontiac show car, too. The highest price paid for one to date was, Brian, you want to take a stab at it? How much you think they have given one to date the highest price for one?
I'm not a car guy.
Just
but
take
I can
a
say
guess.
This is the first car I ever really wanted.
Okay.
When I was 8.
Yeah, me too. What do you think they've highest?
$2 million.
Okay, you say $2 million. Walt, what do you think?
I'll say about $400,000 or $500,000.
$495,000. $495,000. So you're actually pretty good. If we're playing the Price is Right, you would have won.
I won.
Really overshot that.
You should have just said $1. You would have won.
That's right.
It has even more special connection to the film. That car was a promotional gift that sold for $495,000. It was a promotional car that was gifted to Burt Reynolds, and he owned it and drove it till 2014. That's why it brought so much money. Oh. So all I know is when that Trans Am came out in Smokey the Bandit, I mean, who of us didn't want one?
Everybody wanted one.
It was just a great looking kind of Pontiac sports car at the time. Now they changed the body styles of them a little bit after that. They made the headlights a little more separated or whatever by fiberglass or whatever, and it looked a little different. That's the kind of the one he drives in Smokey the Bandit 2, the second one, but it's still a Trans Am. So yeah, that's cool. If you guys haven't got a chance to visit the Savoy Auto Museum here in Cartersville, we have another big museum which is fantastic, along with the Tellus and the Booth Western Art Museum and the Historical Museum. We're a city of museums here, but they have I don't know if it's still going on or not. But they had the big block, the big block display of all the muscle cars that were over there that have huge
That's what
muscle
I was
car
wanting to
blocks
see,
or whatever.
just hadn't made it over.
Oh boy, and just thinking about them now. Yeah, sure. Back in the day when we got our first cars, gas was only like 53 cents a gallon back in the early '80s. But now, I know gas is ticking down at the time of this recording. You know, it's a little lower than it was. It's going down slowly. But I can't imagine. I mean, unless I had a better job than working in radio, I couldn't imagine having some
paying
job.
Huge,
yeah, you're right. It's a great job.
There's not a better job.
I can't imagine owning a huge V8 engine right now that only gets like maybe 12, 13 miles a gallon, maybe even less than that. I keep talking to Mrs. BK, her Acura she's got. I said, honey, you understand, when you give this vehicle gas, when that red light lights up, that means the turbo's coming on. That hence more gas is being sucked in. So
right, to go the same distance.
Explain her to that. Just don't press the gas too much and it won't kick in. And she didn't listen to me. When did she ever listen to me? Hey, we're back. It's BK on the air here on AM 1450 and 100.3 FM WBHF. The studio is chocked full of nuts. I know you guys watched a lot of TV like I did growing up. UHF, VHF. You use terms like that now and kids will go, huh?
A what?
Yeah, picture tube, television, cabinet TV.
Change
stereo.
the channel.
They don't chunk. They don't know what that means. I got a story here from mentalfloss.com. Analog TVs never had a channel 37. And I didn't really think about it because I never remember seeing a channel 37. I saw a lot of others, but there's got to be a reason for it. Did you know before the rise of Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and Roku sticks and all the others, consumer got their small screen entertainment through analog television. Flipping the dial meant cycling through a number of cables and over-the-air channels, hoping to catch something of interest. Does flipping the dial mean something different now? Because that's why it's in quotes. I hope it doesn't mean something completely different, which is terrible, which is I'm so behind the times. For video game fans, it might be making sure that your set was on channel 3 or 4 of your Nintendo or your Atari, so it would appear on screen. But one channel was usually absent, channel 37, which happens to be a UHF channel. Landing on it, and you'd probably get nothing but static. Yes, and we all know UHF was 14 through 83. Mm-hmm. Like a missing 13th floor in a building, this strange emission could be puzzling. And then you'd find Matlock or Alf, or you probably forgot all about it and didn't care. But there was a legitimate reason that no TVs could pick up channel 37. The U.S. government said they can't. That was in short the Dreamer's Digest version. Now, for channel 37 to go over the air, it would have to transmit from the 610 megahertz band. Unfortunately, that was also the frequency needed by the University of Illinois' Vermilion River Observatory near Danville in Illinois. It's one of three frequencies, along with 410 megahertz and 1.4 gigahertz, that are used extensively for radio astronomy. There's the reason.
Interesting.
But in plain terms, if a channel 37 had been taking up the 610 megahertz frequency within 600 miles of the observatory, it would have interfered with their mammoth 400-foot telescope that they had, because that's the frequency that they were using. That's a pretty big radius that envelops virtually all of the East Coast and major cities like Chicago and Detroit, St. Louis, and Washington, D.C. Now, a working channel 37 would have effectively blocked out one of three major panes, it's P-A-N-E-S, of a metaphorical window into the universe, just so people could they would block it out just so people could watch Gilligan's Island. They didn't want to do that. So
I don't know which one's more important.
I think Gilligan's Island might be a little more important, especially the episode when the satellite camera landed on the island.
That's
and they
right.
thought they were aliens. Broadcasters apparently didn't care about scientific advancement and often lobbied to have Channel 37 put to use. But science countered and garnered support from the Federal Communications Commission. That's the FCC, by the way, who we're really familiar with here at WBHF. We get calls from them every time I go off the air. That was beginning in 1960, shortly after UHF signals were put into wide use in 1960. Now, attempts to find a kind of compromise allowing a station to take the band but limiting its programming hours, that disgruntled scientists, so they didn't want to do that. The FCC agreed and prohibited a station from taking the Channel 37 spot indefinitely. Even though the Vermilion River Observatory closed in 1980, listen to this, the moratorium is still in effect. Then again, you'd have to be receiving over-the-air signals on an analog television to even care, which we don't know anymore, so it doesn't really matter. So the moratorium is still there. Isn't that like the government? We still have this law and moratorium here, this directive, but it's useless. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I didn't know the government did stuff like that. That's pretty funny. So if you've been burning with the question and not sleeping at night, wondering, oh, wow, the world wars, the Middle East and terrorism, the economy, gas prices, and oh, my goodness, why don't we have a Channel 37? I've never wondered why.
You know how long that has been bothering me? Since this morning when you told me there's no Channel 37 was not one of the waiting rooms.
Yeah, that's about when
there was no 37.
Hit me when I actually saw the story.
There was anything but 17, 30, 46, and then
exactly.
Newer, 36.
There you go. And whatever that religious station was that had the faith healer who got arrested for...
You're talking about when Channel 14 here and locally would show, WTLK would do that on Channel 14.
Yeah, I had all the weird stuff.
I knew somebody that used to work there.
Well, speaking of all the weird broadcasting that was on UHF, I just watched UHF this week.
With Weird Al?
It's on.
That's actually a fun
It's on one of the streaming services for free. I was like, oh my gosh, I love that movie.
Why do so many people not like it? It came out and they didn't do that well, but
it
I thought it was
is such
so
a great movie. It is so funny.
Now, what was the one? Now, the one they did with John Ritter wasn't as great, called Stay Tuned. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I do.
Where
That
he
was
gets
not
sucked
as good.
into the TV.
I mean, it was funny.
It was like a 10-minute skit on SNL. That was probably the only way it would have been good. But UHF with Weird Al was funny.
Oh, it was great.
So what about you brought up Weird Al? So we brought up Harry Potter too. So we have to bring up that Daniel Radcliffe is playing Weird Al in a movie coming up, and I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about it. I'm like, okay, I'll watch it just to see, because
this is one of those I'll dip my toe in, but I don't know. We'll see if Jaws eats me. So.
Well, if he does, then I'm calling the Guinness Book of Records to let them know.
Yes.
How much time do I have? Maybe I have enough time. Let's do this right quick. The MCU is still going strong, and they're going to continue to go strong. The Marvel Cinematic Universe. I got this from Forbes.com, of all places. Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They have a little information to share about you, and we'll tell you. Phase 5 is on the way in 2023, and Phase 6 is starting shortly thereafter. Marvel is ready to talk specific dates for a whole bunch of releases, which also include the reveal of a few new high-profile projects, including a pair of Avengers movies released within months of each other in Phase 6. They're going to release these last two Avengers films of this current thing just like within months of each other. You're not going to wait 2 years
that's
for
crazy.
them. Now, here's the official schedule going forward. This is what we got. This could change, so don't hold me to this. Phase 4, we're in Phase 4 right now. So we got She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, will be a Disney Plus show coming on August 17th. Did you see the trailer of that already? Yeah. Trailer for She-Hulk. I hear they cleaned up the first trailer and it looks a lot better than that bad CGI they had in the first one that came out. Black Panther. Now, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the first movie that's coming out right around the corner in November. So that's the next cinematic film that we'll see is Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And if you haven't seen the trailer for Black Panther, one of the oldest Marvel characters is in the trailer. It's Prince Namor, Submariner. He is in the trailer if you look real close. So he's going to be in this film. Phase 5 will start on February 17th. 2023, which is my birthday. This is a birthday gift to me. Ant-Man Quantumania. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania will open February 17th. That'll be the official begin of Phase 5. Secret Invasion, a Disney Plus show, will be in the spring of 2023. They don't give an actual date. They just say the spring. Up next, May 5th. 2023, Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3. They started out filming it in London and found out, this costs too much money, and they moved it right back here to Georgia to film or whatever. Or they found out it was going to cost too much, so they came back to Georgia. So Georgia filmed Guardians of the Galaxy. Echo, the new Disney Plus show, the girl that's deaf from the third season of Daredevil, I think, wasn't that what she was on? I think, yeah. Her new show comes out in the summer of 2023, and I think Daredevil's going to be in that show with her. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he'll make an appearance. Loki Season 2, the Disney Plus show, summer of 2023, next year is when Loki Season 2. Then we have the Marvels movie coming out July 28th of 2023. That will include Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, and then a couple more Marvel characters, Miss Marvel that has her own show on right now on Disney Plus. They will all congeal together as three Marvel characters on there. And in November the 3rd, the MCU is going to take a hold of Blade. the vampire hunter that Wesley Snipes played originally. They're going to do their own MCU version of Blade. So that's going to be awesome. Ironheart in the fall of 2023. It's an Iron Man-like character, but it's a girl that makes her own Iron Man costume or her own Iron Man. That'll be a Disney Plus show. Agatha Coven of Chaos, Disney Plus, winter of 2023-2024. She's from WandaVision, the witch that was fighting her. Here's the one I'm most looking forward to out of everything that's coming out. Daredevil Born Again. The MCU has a hold of him now, not Netflix. And all the original cast, I understand, is returning. 18 episodes, spring of 2024.
Wow.
So they're going to have that'll be like a true long miniseries, almost a first season of a show or something. That'll be long. Captain America, New World Order will be released May the 3rd, 2024, with Anthony Mackie playing Captain America, or New Captain America. And if you're familiar with Thunderbolts, they were a group in Marvel that were kind of like villains, but all came together as a group. Thunderbolts will be coming out July the 26th. It'll be a movie, not a TV show, of 2024. This was exciting, too. Let's move on to Phase 6. Oh, my goodness, run out of time. November the 8th, 2024, Fantastic Four. They're not, it's not a rumor anymore.
They're going to take the
They're
chance.
going to do the Fantastic Four, and they will do it correctly.
They will do it correctly.
And the 2 Avengers movies, May the 2nd, 2025, Avengers, the Kang Dynasty will be released, and then in November, right after that, Avengers, the Secret Wars movie will come out. So we're all just building up to all this big thing to build up to the Fantastic Four and the Avengers. Now, I think it's Kang Dynasty. They announced the director for that. The guy that directed Shang-Chi is directing that Avengers movie. So the Russo brothers, I guess, aren't coming back to do that. So there's obviously a Phase 6 that's going to be more fleshed out as they go on. And Marvel's not taking this year to make any huge X-Men announcements, but I know they will because they're acquiring the X-Men back. But the movie will be coming out. Guessing the X-Men will get some shows as well, maybe some TV shows. But look at that. Look at all that stuff coming out that we got to look forward to. And we say it's such a long way off, but when we say that, it seems to be here just in a snap of a fingers, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the older we get, the faster time moves.
No kidding.
These are going to be new characters for me. I didn't know a lot of these newer ones that are coming out, so it's going to be a little fun to...
And that's a good thing, though, because they'll explain to you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry about knowing who they are.
The first phases, I knew all of them, so it was easy to follow.
But the only thing that I saw is in the early phases of Marvel is I wasn't that big a fan of Guardians of the Galaxy. I kind of knew who they were when they would guest star in another book growing up. And I saw the trailer, and this is the one that proved to me where I'm like, don't doubt Marvel. Don't doubt them. Because I saw the trailer to Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm like, that looks kind of silly. Because they're playing the music and the rock songs, and I'm like, is this going to be Marvel's first bomb? And I'm like, no. I was so wrong.
Yeah, they waited till Captain Marvel.
Bomb, they waited till the Eternals. Because I don't
they're right. Yeah,
Captain Marvel made $1 billion. That's all they care about.
Yeah.
They made $1 billion. Guys, thanks for being here today and having fun. We had a good time today, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Okay. Not lying to me, are you?
Sure, BK.
Why don't we go get some lunch later or something like that. That'd be great. Catch me on the podcast. It's BK on the Air. I'll also be back next week with Walt and possibly these guys. It's BK on the Air.
Hi. Today you saw why everyone should be given a chance to prove his or her abilities. Don't put someone down just because they're different from you. And don't put a girl down just because she's a girl. When a person's talents are wasted, it's a loss to all of us. See you next week.